Empress thought surprisingly no lingering feelings remain in her. It was really easy. The emperor came and asked where she was going. She didn't respond. The emperor asked again if she had heard his question. Was she going to that guy, Lionel Valgier? Empress thought, up until the end. He still failed to recognize the most important thing. Then she spoke. Is it important to know who she will be going to? That's not important to her. What is important to her is that she can no longer tolerate him. The emperor asked where else his empress would be, if not by his side. Empress replied after trying to dethrone her, actually, it's for the better. Even if the dethronement didn't happen, she would still end up telling him this someday. She is giving up her seat next to him. She will throw away her position as empress. Now back in time, she is Adelaide Gotrov, the best striker who is capable of single-handedly removing the tower's core. She is also the princess of the Gotrov Empire. No, she was the crown princess. A lady said it is a marriage proposal from the Enchmont's emperor, to go and become the empress of Enchmont. Adelaide replied it looks like she is anxious to terminate her presence here. Mother said she thought Adelaide would joyfully accept it. Is she wrong? Doesn't she regret that day every time she struggles? That day, if only she had left her little brother Lucio to die, she would have been able to become Gotrov's emperor. Adelaide spoke. Please stop it. Mother continued. Don't she think she owe her one and only little brother? Of course, she knows Adelaide is loyal to him, but what about her future children or her close aides? Does she think they share the same mindset as her? She too might change her mind someday. Her existence to the Gotrov Empire is just like a knife on the jaw, for the sake of the empire and her little brother's leave. Then in the carriage, Adelaide saw the picture of the emperor. There is also a note, in which to written the emperor's mistress Diana Poitiers, 29 years old. Adelaide thought she can only reach the continent and leave her homeland after crossing the deep and rough oceans. It's very far. She will become the empress of that empire. On the other hand, the emperor saw her picture, then thought when someone sends their prospective groom their portrait, they usually draw themselves sitting calmly with a gentle smile on their face. She is sending him a message that she will come as an empress, not a woman. It is merely a picture, yet the energy in it is so strong, it seems to reach the sky. It would be good for both of them if she comes as an ordinary woman. In the next scene, Adelaide asks how much farther they have to go. The lady replies that what she is seeing now is the first gate. They need to travel for about 1 more hour because they have to pass through the second gate. Adelaide speaks, saying she needs to change her clothes. Lionel Valgier, the defense minister and the commander of guards, comes. He was shocked and thought of golden eyes, her clothes. Then they both introduce themselves. Adelaide stated she has been riding from boat to carriage for 2 months. It wasn't an easy journey. Does he happen to have an extra horse? Lionel asks why she asks. Adelaide replies that she wishes to ride the horse. Lionel thought, so that's why she is wearing riding clothes. After that, she is riding a horse and shout, "Giddy up." Lionel thought, goodness, she is bold enough to shout like that, and her horse riding skill is excellent. After some time, Lionel asks, has her frustration subsided a bit now? Adelaide replies, thanks to him, he wants to ride a little more, but it would be difficult to arrive at the palace in this state. Thanks to him, she was able to endure the boring journey. She hopes they can ride together again next time. In the next scene, the Grand Duchess Elizabeth Elrich, who is the emperor's half-sister and the only woman in the Ulrich family, comes. She asks, what are all these things? Did His Majesty give her all these? Is it not necessary to have anyone's permission for getting anything from the royal treasury? Diana replies that she was only choosing an appropriate crown for the empress. Elizabeth states that she is the only noble lady who selects the crown for the empress. She is concerned that if the Empire of Gothrop were to know about this, diplomatic protests might come flying. Rather than a crown chosen by the mere mistress, wouldn't the crown chosen by his sister be better? Diana replies she is sorry, but Lady Elizabeth is the only divorced woman in the empire. She is not sure if the lady is qualified, as she knows a divorced woman in their empire cannot officiate a wedding. Elizabeth shouts, this impudent girl. The emperor comes and shouts, what the hell is she doing right now? Diana thought he just came in time. Then she said he has arrived. Elizabeth asked if he was looking for his mistress rather than managing state affairs. He wouldn't believe it, but she has not done anything. The emperor spoke. Then why is she like this? Diana told him it's all right. Her grace hasn't done anything wrong. It's all because she is lacking. She is doing her best to prepare for His Majesty's wedding, but her grace was not satisfied with the preparations. Elizabeth stated, so that's what happened. She has once again become a mean sister-in-law who picks on an innocent person. Seems like he has no right to say anything. Even his mistress is trying to show off her authority in the pretense of preparing the wedding ceremony. The emperor stated that right now they have no suitable royal lady who can host the wedding ceremony. Shouldn't they instead be grateful to her for volunteering to do it herself? Elizabeth asked if he was now blaming her for her divorce. The emperor stated, let's stop this. This is his last warning. He is the one who put Diana in charge of the wedding ceremony preparation, so she has no say about this. Just follow her decisions. Are they clear? Elizabeth replied, well, she too doesn't want to see this sight ever again. She will head back to her fief as soon as the ceremony is over. Diana thought His Majesty is the sun. The closer people are to him, the more light they will receive. Even though she is His Majesty's older sister, she really thinks it will be all right if she upsets him. For him, Diana is the one and only moon. Elizabeth thought Diana can manipulate the emperor this much. She doesn't know if the new empress will be able to hang on. In the next scene, Diana spoke. His Majesty, he have to go now. The emperor replied, a little bit. Let him stay like this a bit more. She thought he is so beautiful. This person is all hers. He has no intention of sharing with anyone else. The emperor asked why she was crying. Diana replied she was just thinking what she should do. If the empress is displeased with her, would it be better for her to leave the palace? The emperor replied the empress will never be able to harm her. Diana spoke. He is the only thing she wants in her life. Then she thought she would never let anyone steal him from her, even if it's the empress. In the next scene, Diana's big brother stated there is not much time left before the emperor's wedding. She can control her emotions well. Diana spoke. He has never seen her before lift her face. Then she thought of light blonde hair and deep blue eyes, although she is not noticeably beautiful. Then she said both of them leave. After that, she said she told him not to allow anyone with blonde hair and blue eyes to become a maid. Her brother replied, does she know how many common people have blue eyes and blonde hair? If they exclude all of them, does she think they will be able to pick a maid? Diana stated he has to do as she tells him. Does he understand? And be careful with his words in front of the maids. If he can't even do that, don't come looking for her in the future. Then he said anyway he knows His Majesty can't live without her, but even if he still cannot grant her the title of Empress, he heard the Empress who is coming is exceptionally beautiful. This is why he always told her to get pregnant before his marriage. Diana shouted, do he think that's as easy as it sounds? The Empress won't be granted anything by His Majesty. She knows love for the living can become cold. However, love for the dead cannot grow cold. His Majesty sees his mother in her, his mother who passed away prematurely due to the former Empress's prosecution. That's why the word Empress itself is something he hates. So the Empress who only has her status, it's better to be a mistress who has both love and power in her hands. On the other hand, the day after Adelaide arrived at the royal palace, people welcomed her. However, it became late in the evening, and there was still no news of the emperor. In the end, he won't come. She stated she is tired. She will take a warm bath and retire for the day. If anyone visits, send them back and tell them to come back tomorrow. After some time, Adelaide saw Diana and thought, who is she? This is her bedchamber. It's common courtesy for all visitors to be guided to the drawing room to wait there. So how did this come here? Then Diana introduced herself. Adelaide thought, so she is the emperor's mistress. Adelaide started, her clothes are all wet. Hurry up and dry her hair. Diana thought she is relieved. Her face isn't the emperor's type. Then she said, let her dry her hair. Adelaide asked if she was a maid. Diana replied, no, she is not a maid. Adelaide asked, then why did she say she wanted to dry her hair? Moreover, if she is not a maid? Why is she here in his bedchamber without her permission? Diana replied. She apologizes. She wanted to inform her of something. She came here because she thought Her Highness would be curious about His Majesty's preferences. Then she started telling her His Majesty's preferences. Adelaide thought, how dare she talk to her like that, she said. Did she say preferences? Then she spoke to the maid, bring her a glass of wine, and asked why she is giving her that kind of advice. She didn't ask for advice. Is she the kind of person who enjoys going around telling people about another person's preferences? Then can she go and tell His Majesty about her preferences? She likes a man who knows how to speak about private issues in person. And one more thing, not once in her life has she thought of changing to suit another person's preferences, and those preferences, just keep it to herself. Diana replied she is sorry. She hopes Her Highness has a comfortable rest. She has instructed maids to make no mistake while obliging her. After that, Adelaide thought, instructed them to make no mistake in obliging her. Isn't that what the house owner says to their visitors? To be greeted by the Emperor's mistress as soon as she arrives. It's ridiculous. On the day of the wedding, the Emperor had never looked for a prospective bride all the time. What a romantic Emperor they have here. One that's deeply in love. With this, he is saying that Diana is the one responsible for all the palace affairs, and that she is the stumbling block between them. A maid came and stated this is the platinum crown she will be wearing for the ceremony. After wearing it, Adelaide spoke. Is there a gold crown? She still has some time before this ceremony, so she would like to change the crown. Go and bring her a gold crown. On the other hand, Diana said he is sorry. The Emperor thought someone small and fragile just like her comes to mind. Diana, who made him want to protect her from being called Empress, and at the same time makes him want to look away. The word, Empress, appears. It makes him feel sick. Then suddenly the Emperor shouted, Diana, breathe, please breathe slowly. Is there anyone outside? Hurry up and call the physician. At the wedding ceremony, nobles are chatting. Why hasn't His Majesty shown up? He is really late. Is it possible that Lady Diana is stopping him from coming? They feel pity for the bride standing there all by herself. Adelaide thought, does he plan on making her look ridiculous? She doesn't have anyone to ask nor anyone who would tell her what's happening. She feels as if she is being drawn into enemy territory fully unarmed. Then she remembers her nanny told her she has no one to trust except herself. Please keep in mind that she is the only one who can protect her honor and dignity. Then she said, go and get her a chair. She will have a seat until His Majesty comes. Nobles chatted. She is seated. A bride waiting for His Majesty remains seated. Elizabeth thought she made the nobles under control in just one move. Then she introduced herself and said she has always wanted to see her. Adelaide replied, despite their polite introductions, she is not really sure how she should introduce herself. It would be great if the ceremony started soon, so she would be able to confidently introduce herself to both of them. For the time being, she is Adelaide, who someone wants to hurry up and become an Ulrich. Elizabeth replied she already looks like this empire's empress now. Adelaide stated, please be seated. Seems like they shall have to wait a little longer for His Majesty. Elizabeth thought she is really exceptional. She just simply offered them a seat. But with that, she showed them who has the higher rank in this place. She is curious to see the Emperor's face if he were to see this sight. After some time, the Emperor came. The Emperor thought, she is seated. Adelaide spoke, they may remove the chair. The Emperor thought she, without a doubt, to his surprise, is the very embodiment of an empress. Then he said greetings. Adelaide thought, this man is the Emperor, a graceful face. The portrait didn't do his beauty justice. But how come he looks so cold-hearted? He is the one who came late. She feels tired already. A maid tells her this bouquet is to be held in her hand. Another maid tells him, please walk down the aisle holding Her Majesty's hand. The Emperor turned away. Nobles thought the Emperor refused to hold the Empress's hand. When walking down the aisle, the maid said, Her Majesty, the bouquet. Adelaide deplores, not needed. The Emperor stated, don't get greedy. Don't stop and keep walking. Adelaide asked, what does he mean by that? The emperor stated he heard she asked Diana if she is a maid. Adelaide replied, of course she would question her, since she was in someone's bedchamber without permission. The emperor spoke, Diana isn't a maid, so please don't make such rude mistakes ever again. And he won't spend the first night with her, so don't wait for him, Adelaide thought. What is the emperor's attitude of placing boundaries by saying she is not his wife? As soon as they got married, she has now passed the point of no return. The next scene, maids tell her the ceremony is over. One of the maids stated, wouldn't it be all right for her now? He has been skipping her meals the past few days. The other maid asked, what is she talking about? Lady was unable to eat. Do she understand? The maid spoke, she is really sorry, my lady. Diana spoke, she just called her lady. Do she think this place is just some noble's mansion? Does she really seem like an ordinary person to her? This is the royal palace, and she owns this place, so how dare she call her a lady? The maid replied, she promises she will never repeat this mistake again. Please forgive her. Then Diana slapped her. She said she is the owner of this palace. She is to address her as Her Highness. On the other hand, Adelaide thought she has no one she can trust. She also can't trust the Empress's palace maids. There has not been any exchange between Gottrov and Enchmont for quite a long time. She doesn't have enough information. There is a limit to embarrassing someone. Even on the wedding day, he brazenly went to Diana. In the next scene, the emperor saw Diana and thought, his mother said his name. Diana thought he is in his wedding suit since he went after he saw her faint. Wedding ceremony must have been a disaster. She said he doesn't have to come here. She apologizes. She has always been a nuisance to him. Don't be like this. Hurry up and go. Her Majesty must be waiting for him. The emperor replied he has already told her that he won't go, so don't worry about it. Then she thought, let's stop here. She should not annoy him by crossing the line. Then she asked, how does she introduce herself to Her Majesty? Now that there is an empress, nobles will also blatantly call her a mistress. The emperor asked if she has a title in mind. Diana replied she wants His Majesty to call her His Majesty's lover. The emperor replied, all right. After that, she thought if she can't become the empress, then she will make sure nobody can completely have that position. The next day, nobles are chatting. They say that His Majesty went to the Ivory Palace as soon as the ceremony ended. His Majesty is also late to the ceremony because he was at the Ivory Palace. So that means the Empress was mistreated the day she got married. Suddenly, Adelaide came. All of the great her then thought, did she hear them? Now then, it's time to watch their words. After some time, Adelaide thought she braced herself when she came here, but it's harder than she thought. Get her act together and think of a way to survive. The next day, Diana thought she was the one who lost her parents early to the swarms of monsters emerging out of the tower. She was able to earn status as a daughter of a count and gain the Ivory Palace by securing the emperor's love. It's all possible only because she worked hard for it. Someone who gained that position without any effort should never be above her. The Empress will never be able to sit on that chair today. Wedding ceremony. First night, first banquet. The main character of those events is her, not the Empress. That place was meant for her from the start. On the other hand, the maid apologized. They think the measurements they received from Gottrov used a different matrix system from Enchmont. Adelaide asked, then how did the measurements fit for the wedding dress? Well, it can't be helped. Get it mended. It doesn't matter if she is late for the banquet. Maids reply they are really sorry. It's hard to mend a small dress to a bigger. Adelaide thought she always busy running around battling towers and monsters, must have belittled her fight inside the palace. However, she never rests from her war, not even once. Then she remembered her mother warned her, don't she ever lower her guard in Enchmont? She asked, did Diana manage all of her wedding preparations, and did the emperor give permission? The maids kept silent. Adelaide thought it's ridiculous. Seems like she wanted to show her superiority and the emperor's affection, she said. Bring her wedding dress and a gold crown. Diana thinks too lightly of Gottrov's witch. At the banquet hall, all nobles praised Diana for her efforts. One of them admired her necklace. The other one was impressed by earrings. Some of them told her His Majesty and she both are lovebirds. Some nobles asked for her help in different works like tax exemption and tower issues. Her brother stated His Majesty ordered that every palace affair still be delegated to Her Highness. At this rate, the authority held by Her Highness is bigger than the Empress. Suddenly, Lionel stated what a dangerous statement he made there. Diana's brother asked, "What's the problem?" He didn't lie. Diana thought she needed to stop this fight. Nothing good comes from fighting Lionel here. Lionel spoke. Do he need to remind him the reason this banquet is held for? He should be more careful of his words and actions if he knows his place. In the next moment, Adelaide came. All the nobles stood for her. Diana thought she is wearing her wedding dress. Adelaide spoke. Seems like she is a bit late. Everyone. Diana thought she must not let the atmosphere get like this. Nobles are chatting. What should they do? Should they go and greet her? Lionel stated. Her Majesty. Our deepest respect to your Majesty. Then one by one, all the nobles greeted her. Diana thought if they won't look her way, she will just force them to. She greeted Her Highness. Adelaide thought. Look at her, making her appearance to incite the people. Diana spoke. She is the one who prepared the wedding ceremony and banquet. How is it? Do she like it? Adelaide replied. All this time, she has worked hard. Don't be upset that she didn't wear the banquet dress she prepared. Though it's beautiful, she couldn't wear it even if she wanted to because it was too small in size. Please don't apologize for it. Everyone makes mistakes. Nobles chatted. Now that she looks at it, he is wearing her wedding dress. She didn't notice it since it doesn't stand out. Is she intentionally did it? The Emperor came and saw Adelaide, then thought, seems like the Empress has the crowd under control today too. She is a natural at dominating and ruling. She is a woman who won't shed a single drop of blood when stabbed. The Emperor then asked Diana why she was crying. Then he asked Adelaide what she was doing. Adelaide replied, they are exchanging greetings. The Emperor asked, what kind of greetings would make one cry like this? Adelaide replied, she herself is curious as to why Diana is crying. Let's ask the lady herself. Diana stated she just wanted to greet Her Majesty. Then after some time, the Emperor stated, don't be interested in her. He is saying that this woman is his lover, so don't poke her nose around her. Adelaide thought she is really glad that she has a habit of smiling whenever she feels awful. Then she replied with those words, can he please relay it to his lover? She has only crossed paths with that woman twice, and she approached her first both times.